daughter of Levi. And Levi means the priest, you see. And I've heard the word of the Lord say to me, my priests are not speaking to the people, you see. And the Lord is talking about the priest from the soul, not from the flesh. And there is no offense here, but there is a teaching and a realization I want to say, you see. The Lord is saying, my priest, and that's my priest, my chosen priest from the soul. And if we know the story of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and then Jacob, from Jacob's loins, I'm going to say, Jacob had 12 sons, and they became the 12 tribes of Israel. And as they went on, the Lord then split them, divided them into the tribe of Israel and the tribe of Judah. However, they were following the heathen spirit. The heathen spirit came upon them. So now they were in disobedience of the word of the Lord in them, the promise of the Lord in them. And so the Lord said, okay, I'll hand you over to the heathen spirit. And basically they're bearing witness in the heathen spirit. So the Lord has said, I will call you back, and I will redeem you. And through you, he said, I will magnify myself, and the heathen shall know it. So it's a circle that's taking place here. And I was talking about the ark this morning. You see, it's a half a circle or a full circle that's taking place, because the Lord is now causing the flesh to witness against the heathen spirit. And the Lord calls us to remain steadfast in Him, remain steadfast in His word of knowledge, of peace, of great mercies, and His redeeming quality. Okay, so the Levi is the Lord's chosen priest from the soul. So the Lord has said to me, my priests are not speaking to the people. So he says, and if we read about the Levi, as we go on further in the book of Moses, Exodus, and into Leviticus, we can know more about the priests, but they're everlasting in their souls. So he says, and the woman conceived and bare a son, and when she saw him, that he was a godly child, she hid him 3 months. And I was thinking about this over the weekend, because it's Mothering Sunday, and the vicar this morning in the sermon said something really wonderful. And he said that whether our mothers are alive or whether they have passed on, crossed over, somewhere in our relationship we may have said wrong to our mum. And now is the time that we can pray and beg pardon to the Lord. And I can tell you that I did participate in that prayers, and we had to write little notes, and the vicar's going to stick it up on the board there, and that's prayers for our mother, for our relationship with our mums, you see, so that we can bring it forth towards the Lord. And this is what I was saying about reconciling for iniquities. So now the time is drawing near, but let's not worry about the time. Let's get as much of the word out. So, and it says, and the woman conceived, right? Conceived, that means I'm going to use the word nothing, right? It means that before she had no child, yes? Mm-hmm. But now she's brought forth a child, all right? So the woman conceived, and so she's become mother. And bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And now I'm using the word she saw, because I must say over the years when I read that verse, it causes me to think, because it says that the mother saw that her son was goodly, and I'm thinking, what does that mean by goodly? But now I was talking about the spectacles, and the Lord wanting to take the spectacles from our face. I'm believing now that the Lord is talking about a spiritual insight. As I spoke to another vicar on his way in to start this new church service, St. Joseph, and he said, insights, spiritual insights, that's what he said to me to resolve the query. So maybe in this instance, that mother being from priest lineage, she's from priesthood in her family members, and her husband is from priesthood in his family members. They had that heightened sense, that heightened awareness of the divine. And therefore, the spiritual insight told them that their son was goodly. And it says, it uses the word goodly rather than godly. So she had that spiritual intuition, that spiritual knowing. And that's where the Lord is calling us now, to come into that spiritual knowing of Him and His divine beings, His heavenly hosts that the Lord has said are more numerous than the sand on the sea. So the mother knew of her son, and she knew that this was a special son that was set aside from any other sons. So it says here in the next verse, and when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. So there it is, there's the word ark, which is half a circle. And I said, when you go into the cathedrals here in England, it's very interesting to look at the architecture. As you go along the corridors, you see the arcs. And recently, I've taken an interest of going into the cathedral and drawing arcs. Right? So there is just something about the half a circle, I'm going to say, because that is the metaphor of Moses, that he's going to set the Lord's people free from the oppression of the Egyptians, or the Egyptian Pharaoh. But they're going to have to do a cyclic to be redeemed from the flesh, from the sins of this world, and redeem the rest of the people too. So now we can truly come into our divine being. But we have to come into the alertness, we have to come into the awareness of it all, and into the realization. So once again, folks, I'm going to tie down here to give the other church a chance, or the vicars a chance to speak to their congregation. And it says here, she laid it in the flags of the river brink. So flags to me, I mean, it's obvious. It sounds like the white flag to me, peace. So we're coming back into peace, folks. You see, all the great controversy that's been happening here in our existence and in our lives, the Lord is calling us to come into His peace. Because when we come into His peace, that's really where all possibilities will start to occur. So thank you all again, folks. This is Joycelyn Linton coming into the higher calling. I want to call this part 2 because I think there's a lot more to be said here, and I'm waiting on the Lord, and I'm asking Him to lead me on the word and on the teaching and on the message. So until the third part come in, folks, stay tuned in, listen out, and hear the word for yourself, and let it quench the thirst and satiate the hunger. And as Jesus said, this is the true living well. Take care until next time. Thank you, folks. Bye.